So I kind of just want to talk about setting boundaries and just privacy or oversharing, as some of us may not be open enough to share anything, keeping too private. But on the other side, it's people who share too much, say too much, and, in a sense, trying to find a balance between the two because each has its own benefits and each has its own downsides. Because, on one side, keeping to yourself is like, not everyone has to know everything about you. They don't have to know what's going on in your life 24/7. Some things are better left unsaid. Some things are better not shared or expressed. You don't have to constantly keep venting to people. You don't have to constantly keep saying what's on your mind, or, it's that sort of, you can just speak to yourself. You can just work things out in your own mind or things like that. Because from what I'm aware, it's like, I keep to myself, but I also know how to express things too. I also know how to be able to talk about things that are in my own mind or things I just truly find interesting, which is what led me here right now. Crazy how we're talking about privacy, and here I am just talking about what's on my mind. Oh wow, here we are. But at the same time, it's like, if I was too private, it's like you can never make those truly genuine and deep connections. There's a certain balance you have to kind of play off, because if you're too private, you never let anything or anyone know anything. It's like, how are they supposed to get to know you? How are they supposed to get closer to you and know you truly for who you are? That's one thing. It's like, how will they know you? How will a connection be formed? And you can say there are people who will take advantage of you. I can't deny that. There are people who will do that. But I feel like some things like that show in itself. It shows in their characteristics or how they hold themselves. And that's just something I realized. It's like everything gets exposed. Everything comes out, whether it's good or bad. Everything comes to light one day, whether you're working hard or whether you've been an amazing person in your community, friendships, family, that'll all show. And if we're talking about work, all the work you put in, it'll show. Or if you've been talking bad about people behind their back, gossiping things, talking bad about people, and it's like bad mouthing them, it'll show eventually. And that's the thing. And on the oversharing side, it's like, I'll come back to that point though. I do want to talk about it. But on the oversharing side, it's like you may turn people away because it's like, yo, I didn't want to know all that. Sure, you may be able to talk about anything and everything. It's like, yeah, that conversation aspect is cool, but it's like sometimes you need to let people speak, truly. And you truly need to let people speak, and let them get what's on their mind off. That's something I realized. That's something I like to just allow. I just let people say what's on their mind. How's that saying go? 2 ears, one mouth. Use it in that correlation. And that's something that I found. It's a good balance. Being able to talk about, whatever they bring up and just going into that. But oversharing is like that. It's that same thing. It's that same sort of, thing where it's like people can take advantage of that. And, it's very possible, but it's very possible, that you can find that 1, 2, 3, however many people that you can just share anything with. It's that same balance I keep talking about. But if we move on to like, moving in silence, sure, you can do things in silence. And, if people find out, it's like, yeah, it is what it is. If people don't find out, it's like, yeah, whatever. And I guess that's where I found my balance at. It's like, if people ask or if people find out, it's like, okay, you know what, whatever. It's not like I was really hiding it, but I'm not really putting it out there. And it's that sense of security where it's like, whether you know or you don't know, I'm still me. I'm still the same person. I'm still who I make myself out to be and who I'm creating myself as. That's what truly matters. That's what truly matters, to the whole point of we get exposed. Whether you were a quote unquote good person, or we can say positive, or whatever word, positive, negative, person, it'll get exposed. It'll get exposed time and time again. We've seen it, whether it's online, which is, whatever, or in person. We've seen, things like that. Whether it's just people doing things out of the kindness of their own heart, or someone just, being a bad person, I guess you can say, creating harm and chaos. And we see that time and time again. It all comes out. So would you rather be exposed for, being just a genuine person, good-hearted, good-natured, working on whatever you say you wanted to, or the opposite? And that's really on you. That's on your decision, your choice, and it's up to you. It's really up to you. But I guess there is a certain level of privacy that we have to maintain. It's like, it's everything in good faith, or everything in due time. If you truly think it's a good person, you can let them know over time, and that's the thing. It's over time. You never know how long it may be. It may click like that, or it may take a few months. You never know. But at the same time, there are boundaries to be set. If you don't feel comfortable with something, you have to let them know, like, hey, I'm not comfortable with that, or yo, don't ask me that. However you word it, you don't have to get angry. I wouldn't suggest getting angry, but it's just being calm and just saying, yo, I don't want to talk about it, or don't ask me that. However you word it, you don't have to get mad. You just have to state it as it is. I don't want you to talk about it. That's where the power lies in. That's where the power lies in setting a boundary and just saying, that's the limit for right now. When I tell you, I tell you, and I hope you can respect that. If not, you're not finding out regardless. There's no need to pry into it. There's nothing like that. But I don't know. I guess for me personally, it's like I'm in the middle where I'm just. I talk about things if they're asked. If it's brought up to me, of course I'll talk about it if I'm willing to. If not, I'll let them know, like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But for the most part, I'm pretty open as an individual. Like, I guess in a sense, I'm just optimistic in believing that, people aren't necessarily good, or, if they talk bad about me, it's like, I don't really care. I guess that's just at the point where I'm at right now, where I just have a sense of faith in myself, where it's like, I know I'm not doing no harm. It's like, what does it matter? Like, they have not been with me however long I've been alive. Like, they have not been in your life 24/7 since the day you were born. They have not been with you. So it's like, who are they to say, how are they able to judge your character? They haven't been with you. They don't know everything you've gone through. They don't know what's going through your mind. Only you do. You decide your character. You decide who you are. You decide, your identity, I guess you can say. That's up to you. And the life you choose to live between that, the life you choose to live after that, after knowing, whatever it may be, and deciding, that's your power. That's your power. And, it gets stripped away when you let people decide what you want to do. Decide, yo, do this, and you do it. That's your power being taken away. In a sense, there's certain responsibilities we have to have or have to do. Yeah, I understand that. But it's like, when we have the choice, if to do or not to do, it's like, you choose. It's your choice. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Don't. Whether you want to be more private, by all means, be more private. If you want to be more open, by all means, be more open. It's your choice. It's your choice. But I'm just saying, I guess there's a balance to be played. You don't want to be on the extremes, I guess you can say. As I feel like that's what happens in the law, happens a lot in life. People are pushed to the extremes, whether it's dating, perceptions on life, whether being rich or poor, all of these things, all of the political views, all these, things. Even just simple things like anime or games or food or things like that, people are pushed to the extremes. People are pushed to the extremes, and if you're not on their side, they hate you for it. It's more prevalent now than ever. There's so much anger, there's so much hate, there's so much negativity. You know, they'll say they can say, you have to be in a spot where they can say one thing, it can be negative, another person says something positive, but it doesn't change you, doesn't affect you. You know, that's a problem though. I feel as if a lot of us are getting easily triggered. A lot of us get easily triggered, you know, because we identify with so much and so easily. People say one bad thing and there you are, quick to just burst, snap, and just get angry. That's not necessary. You know, they believe what they believe. You believe what you believe. It doesn't change your life. It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily change who you are as an individual or how you'll proceed to move forward. You know, someone will say one thing 1 minute. They'll say something that, let's say 7:51. They'll say something at 7:51. How did you act at 7:49? How did you act at 7:53 when you knew it? It should be the same exact thing. It's just, okay, cool. But I guess the problem lies in the people who just get that information after at 7:53 and just freak out or just snap or just do something irrational. It's like, that's where we need to stay clear of. And I do wish that there comes a point in time where it's like they become, you know, aware enough where it's like they see how that affects the people around them, or just people in general, and how it creates this loop of just constant hatred or separation. I hope that does get, you know, realized sometime soon, that there's a greater divide now than ever. And oh my, it does bring me to another point. Like, I was working one day with two co-workers. We're talking about, you know, in the dating scene, I guess you can say. I guess it was just a point to be brought. One was a girl, one was a guy, and they said the same thing but on the opposite side of the coin. One of them said men only want this. He said no, and women want this. It's the same argument on the different side of the coin. Like, I don't know, some people just live with opinions that aren't theirs. It's crazy. It's crazy to think, because I was there and I'm just like you're both on the same. You're both on the opposite side of the coin. Like, and I said that too. I'm like, yo. I had to point out. I'm like, yo, that's not. Y'all are arguing the same kind of thing, like the same kind of. Because they had what they asked me. They specifically asked me, like, what was it? It was something along the lines of, do you think that's true? I'm like, no, every person has their own individual quality and characteristics that makes them them. And it's like, if that's their preference, that's their preference. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. But how'd I get here from privacy? It's privacy, boundaries, and maintaining a sense of security, self-security, and being self-sufficient in a way where it's like, sure, you can express yourself if you want to, or you can keep to yourself if you want to. It's that trust in self. It's that trust in self that you build up, you know, and it comes from acceptance from your actions and what you say, because what you say matters, what you do matters, and how you act matters. And you are the greatest representation of yourself and who you are becoming. You know, the past is the past. You can change your self right now. With this first action, first step, it can be a whole new house. You break everything down. It may take work. You can break everything down, start anew, and, you know, over time it happens. And the time doesn't matter. The place doesn't matter. The fact that it's happening or that you're going matters. The fact that it's happening matters. That's what matters above all else. just trust it. Over time, your seeds will grow into trees, and the trees will soon lead to a forest, and you'll see how far you came. But again, I feel as if I'm getting separated from the whole idea of just, I guess, in a sense, keeping to yourself, strictly just keeping to yourself. Last final thoughts, because I think I'm genuinely just dragging it out a bit. If you're to yourself all the time, or you never express yourself, it's like you can't build those genuine, deep connections, and that's obvious. That's said without knowing. Like, you know when it's someone you trust, you'll talk, whatever. You'll just be more open. But if you're too open with someone too early, it's like you kind of just, you put too much onto them, depending on what it is. Because if you're just venting, telling them about your problems, it's like they may not want to hear that. They're just like, yo, I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to enjoy myself. Cool. So it's a weird balance to try and figure out. But I guess it's all about just connection, trust, and having trust with yourself, in the sense where it's like you trust yourself enough to tell people that you're okay with being vulnerable enough to tell people that. That's trust. Trusting yourself in order to trust others. That's what it leads to. I guess I just want to leave it off there. Honestly. Yeah. Love you. See ya.